Louisiana All American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If it's sports you want to talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're going to sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station to hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready, boy, you better not miss Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana. It's Joker P.
I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge. It's another Saturday morning, November the 15th, 2014.
Yeah.
And put on your seatbelts, strap in, and get ready to ride for another hour here on Louisiana All American Sports on 96.9 FM WHYR-LP, Baton Rouge Community Radio. I am Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P, and I'm charged and ready to go. Let's go.
And very shortly we will be joined by Terrell Johnson, the professor. Well, look, let's jump right into it. It's November, and that means it is playoff time in high school football. A lot of action going on around the city of Baton Rouge and around the state of Louisiana. Of course, nowadays there are 9 potential state championships with the select and non-select schools. Of course, your traditional districts 1 through 5A, and then for the select schools, divisions 1 through 4. And we had a whole lot of playoff activity going on last night. So let's just go ahead and talk about our Louisiana All American Sports. Who in the heck let Jim Moore in here?
Playoffs?
Okay, well, yeah, we're talking about playoffs, baby. So last night, the Louisiana All American Sports.com Game of the Week was featured a team we brought to you quite a bit this year, the Southern Lab Kittens. They hosted the St. Frederick Warriors, St. Frederick Catholic High School from Monroe, Louisiana, and that game was played at Doug Williams Stadium last night. It was a little chilly at kickoff. It was around 40 degrees when the sun was still out, but that did not put any frost on the Southern Lab Kittens' attack, both offensively or defensively. Now, the Kittens last year, as we've mentioned several times in this show, advanced to the state semifinals in Division 4 last year. They were eliminated by the St. Frederick Warriors, who wound up being the state runner-up. If you think for 1 second that when they saw the playoff matchups that they didn't circle us on the calendar and put, little bullseyes with the St. Frederick's logo in the Southern Lab locker room, and that their focus was not intense, you're kidding yourself. Here are some highlights from the game last night. Veal steps back in the shotgun, and he's going to hand it off to Darby on Profit up the middle. Big hole, that blue sea parts. Touchdown. Southern Lab draws first blood. Darby on Profit, a 21-yard run, and the Kittens score first with 1:21 remaining in the opening period. The score, Southern Lab 6, the St. Frederick Warriors 0. And so while it was near the end of the first quarter before the Kittens got on the scoreboard, they decided they wanted to rinse, wash, and repeat. Bungle him a lot. Kuhn fires to his left. Picked off. Intercepted. 15-10-5. Touchdown. Southern Lab Kittens. And oh, baby. They're going to throw a flag for unsportsmanlike as he did a Deion Sanders style high step into the end zone. But that is nonetheless irrelevant as the Southern Lab Kittens have gotten into the end zone on a 25-yard interception return for a touchdown. Xavier Bell. That is Xavier Bell. That is Xavier Bell, number 2, with the interception. A very alert play. He read Kuhn's eyes like Kojak. Barrett Kuhn fired the ball with a lot of velocity, but Xavier Bell picked it off and took it about 20, I'm going to say officially 24 yards from where he took possession, 24 yards to the his house. It was 24 yards to the his house, and don't worry, that feeling would continue. Veal fires, end zone, and caught! Derek Pate, number 17, the playmaker, Touchdown Southern Lab with 8:17 remaining in the half, and the Southern Lab Kittens are now firmly in the driver's seat, 21-0 on a 24-yard pass from Bladrick Veal to Derek Pate, the senior. And we have shown you a lot of Derek Pate literally since he was a freshman on Louisiana All American Sports.com, and watched him evolve into the playmaker he has become as a senior. And that was a fantastic play at the right time. And the Kittens they're getting inching closer and closer and closer to that jugular vein. With 8:17 remaining in the half, the score, the Southern Lab Kittens 21, the St. Frederick Catholic High School Warriors 0. You're watching. So that was that ongoing pattern continued. We've talked about Derek Pate on this show ad nauseum, and really, there's the third game we covered this year with Southern Lab, and we hadn't seen Derek Pate pop out yet, but he did last night. Long touchdown pass, and also the icebreaker. The final score of this game was Southern Lab 53, St. Frederick 0. To say that they exercised those demons would be an understatement. And the icing on the cake, the senior Derek Pate with a 60-yard punt return for a touchdown, fielded the ball at the 40, hit a very tiny seam, and was just gone. So the Southern Lab Kittens will advance. They are going to play the winner, I believe it's either out of Ascension Christian or Hammond Catholic. I can't remember. It's a school out of Lake Charles. I believe it's the Lake Charles school that's the favorite. I'm sure Professor Johnson might have that in the scoreboard. But we had a chance to chat with some of the Southern Lab with Darby on Prophet, who ran for over 200 yards last night. We talked about him just last week, and of course we had to talk with Coach Nick Mitchell, who just apparently has the magic formula. Veal drops back. Whoopsie daisy, that is not what we want. Hang on. Righty. So hang on, we're having just a minor technical problem. But anyway, Coach Nick Mitchell has worked I don't know, water into wine or whatever you want. Here we go. Louisiana All American Sports here with the victorious Coach Nick Mitchell of the Southern Lab Kittens. An absolute convincing stem to stern, start to finish, 53-0 drubbing of last year's Division IV runner-up St. Frederick's Warriors. Coach, before the game we talked about extinguishing some demons from last year. Y'all did that.
Yeah, we started off the game. Our game plan worked the way that we put it in this week, and I'm proud of our guys. I'm proud of our coaching staff. I'm proud of our school and our community, especially after last year's defeat. Our guys had a bad taste in their mouth, and when we found out that we were going to be playing them, we didn't have to get them to get focused on the game.
Young people can focus when the proper motivation is offered, that's for sure. Let's talk about the play of the money man, Darby on Prophet. Second week in a row with 200 yards and really put the offense on his back.
He's a very good running back. He's patient. Our offensive line has done a very good job of opening holes for him, and even the holes that may not be as open as we would like, he still finds a way to get through. I'm proud of him because at the beginning of the year, he struggled a little bit with seeing the open holes and the cutback lanes and things like that, but he stayed patient in the process, and I'm just proud of the kid.
Defensively, at least from up there, well, first of all, it was a great defensive performance, but I guess the one player of the many that swamped on these Warriors that stood out to me was Keenan Granger. Can we talk about his game?
Yeah. Well, it was Jonah Granger, the brother. They're twins.
Okay.
Jonah Granger did a very good job. We put a lot on his shoulders this week because of their leverage on their offense. So we asked him to do a lot, and he responded. He's been in our program for 3 years now, and he's seen it all, and he's pretty much done it all as far as seeing teams who run specific offenses. So he's been prepared.
Now, who are you guys possibly going to play next week? The LHSAA site was practically crashed, probably from activity night. Who are the possibilities? And I know you guys have to travel regardless, right?
I think it's either Ascension Episcopal or Hamilton Christian.
So Ascension Episcopal is not too far away, but Hamilton Christian, is that in northern Louisiana?
No, it's in Lake Charles.
Lake Charles, okay.
Yeah,
all righty. Well, Coach, best of luck next week. We'll definitely be following you, and keep it going. Best of luck rest of the way.
We're just happy to get a chance to play another week. We thank God for that, and we're going to work our best to see if we can play one more week.
All right, that's Coach Nick Mitchell on Louisiana All American Sports. So that was Coach Nick Mitchell's comment. And actually, I'm checking the scores. Hamilton Christian actually did pull off a bit of an upset. Ascension Episcopal pulled off a little bit of an upset over Hamilton Christian, 21-16. So that game will be in Ascension Parish. And barring any kind of logistical issues, we'll be bringing you the Kittens again on the Louisiana All American Sports.com Game of the Week next Friday at 7 o'clock. Last but not least, we always like to give the kids a shot at the podium. Very humble young man. Darbion Prophet was not humble on the field, but of course is very quiet in his demeanor. Just a kid that just had 2 spectacular performances 2 weeks in a row. Didn't let it go to his head. It would have gone to mine. Here was the money man, Darbion Prophet, last night.
Eric Hatfield here with the money man, wearing his green, Darbion Prophet. And your rushes made a lot of profit for your teammates tonight, over 200 yards, a couple of touchdowns. This is 2 weeks in a row. You've just, owned the field. Talk about that.
It feels amazing to help the team out. You know, the offensive linemen do their blocking assignment, the receivers do their blocking. That just gives me a chance to run the ball hard.
You seem to be seeing the holes exceptionally well tonight, and your coach told me that you've really improved it at that as the season has progressed. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I just started seeing the cutback line. Every time I see it, I just hit it and keep my legs pumping and keep running.
Darbion, we had a chance to talk with your mom last week. Is your mother here tonight?
No, sir, she left.
All right. Well, look, you tell her to be listening to 96.9 FM tomorrow at 11 o'clock, so we'll have you on there. She's one proud mom. Best of luck. What are you thinking about for next week? And you're looking at either Ascension Christian or Hamilton.
So we had, and of course I bungled the names. There was Ascension Episcopal and Hamilton Christian, but hey, well, that's why I'm just a broadcaster. But look, Darbion Prophet's mom was on. We interviewed her last week. She's like, "Baby, I am proud of my son." She was a proud mother. Joker Pete had a chance to interview her. But those are the Southern Lab Kittens. I'm telling you right now, boy, it's New Orleans or bust for this team in Division IV.
Yeah, they really impressed me. We had a chance to cover them a few games this year. And I could see the development in them. I could see them getting better. I could see them very, very good coach. Nick Mitchell has done a real fantastic job with that squad. They just leaps and bounds and be able to go against the same team that put you out of the playoff last year and take their revenge on those young guys and blank them at that, That's a very big confidence boost. So I think they're ready. I think so too, and we will keep you. Look, we will definitely keep you abreast of their progress on this show, no doubt about that. Area code 225-343-9927. 225-343-9927. Hey, it's not just high school. We can talk about the Saints, LSU, football, basketball, hey, even baseball. If you want to talk about the MVPs, we are here to chat with you on Louisiana All American Sports. But let's stick to football, folks. Speaking of football, so let's give you the wrap up of the high school games as we have Professor Terrell Johnson breaking it down for us.
Good morning, family, and welcome on this cold day in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There's a whole plethora of scores statewide, but we'll try to address some of those that are geographically significant to us. East Ascension opened a can of you-know-what on Sulphur, 52-14. Zachary defeated Airline, 53-27. Denham, 34-7 over Woodlawn. I'm very surprised at that game, Eric. Barb also defeated Dutchtown 14-10. Acadiana blanked Santamar with the big goose egg, 37-0. Ponchatoula totally impressed, 76-22 over South Lafourche.
Wow. What was that score of the Santamar game?
37-0.
And who beat them?
Acadiana.
That's surprising.
That is surprising. 37-0 Santamar. Plaquemine. In a close one against McDonough 35 from New Orleans. McDonough had to travel up I-10 and go across the river to West Baton Rouge Parish. Excuse me. 21-14 against them. West Feliciana defeated Westlake 34-6. And as you mentioned, Southern Lab blanked St. Frederick's 55-0. And Madison Prep defeated Ascension Catholic 36-18. And also, as Eric mentioned, Southern Lab will be traveling to Ascension Episcopal. Southern Lab with a record of 6-5, and Ascension Episcopal's record is 8-3.
Now, McDonough 35, that was my mother's alma mater. I think she's listening, and I'll tell you, it's a long way from. Back in her day, they were struggling to win a game, but Plaquemine's a pretty good team. They went on the road and grinded it out there. So that will wrap it up. I guess is that the balance? That we have another one?
I omitted one score. Excuse me. Skylandville also defeated Ruston, 18-14 in a close
Whoa.
Ruston is typically a perennial powerhouse.
Absolutely.
Right.
Ruston has a tradition of winning.
Big win for Scotlandville.
Do we have any stats on that?
I was surprised at that. I'll have to do a little research on it. I may have some stats. I have to look on it. Just give me 1 second. I'll come back to it.
Eric Randall's doing that. He's former Southern University quarterback and Scotlandville head coach. Eric Randall is doing. I mean, that team is playing some good ball. And so now, you know they're just a juggernaut in basketball, and now they took down a big boy in football, and it's got to be happy times there in Scotlandville right now. They're dominating all the way around in the sporting world. So I am just curious as to some of the standouts. I know they have a couple of good running backs there at Scotlandville. And you got anything?
Oh, yeah. Just continue. Let me kind of look at this.
Sure, go for it. But anyway, so that's going to, look, the second round of the playoffs is coming up, and there were a lot of surprises in the first round. Stay tuned a little bit. We're going to be bringing you a lot of coverage. We're going to have LSU, Southern, big games, particularly, really for both teams, but Southern is continuing to truck on, and they are on a collision course with the Grambling State Tigers for the Southwestern Athletic Conference Western Division Championship. We'll be talking about that. The professor, who is a Grambling alum, has his Grambling skull cap on. What did he say? I said I was smiling like Garfield last night. I think he's smiling like, what was his, Opie? What was the other dog's name? But, so yeah.
Eric, let me give you this real quick. In reference to the Scotlandville game, Delmas Holmes, standout running back, rushed for 137 yards on 14 carries. Lewis completed 6 of 14 for 58 yards passing. Russell led Scotlandville's receiver with 5 catches for 43 yards. I'm very impressed with the young man, Delmas Holmes.
Yeah.
I know his father.
Oh, yeah.
I know his whole family. In fact, they're from South Baton Rouge.
And they won that game in dramatic fashion. They actually scored a touchdown with 3 seconds left.
Wow.
And they was able to on the 5-yard line. So, big kudos to Scotlandville. That is a very big win for that program.
Indeed. Shout out to the Hornets.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Hornets.
Good job by Delmas Holmes. He had to really wait behind Dontrell Hilliard, who was a super standout last year. He got his turn. It looks like he's wasting no time. Excellent job for that young man. So, moving out from the boys to the young men, we have the Southern University Jaguars, who are on the Bluff, and they are going to host a team that, frankly, I think they should, they should clobber today. They have got the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, and the Delta Devils can get used to hearing a lot of this today. Yes, the Mississippi Valley State Devils have descended a long way since the days of Willie Totten and Jerry Rice.
Wow.
They only have 1 win in conference play, and Dawson Odoms and company, I guarantee you, are licking their chops on the Bluff. I'll tell you, they are on a collision course. Southern has 1 loss in conference play. The Grambling State Tigers have got a little bit of a challenge today. They're undefeated in conference play, but they're playing a very competent professors at Alabama State Alabama State that they're playing today. That's not gonna be easy. Grambling is played better than they have all year, but that's not gonna be easy. But Southern has what I think should be a cupcake. My only concern for the Jags is looking ahead to the Bayou Classic. But I don't think Coach Dawson Odoms, that man don't play. He's a gentle giant, and I think he's going to have his team focused today. Guys, first of all, I think off top, they're going to pound Mississippi Valley State. That game, by the way, is at 6 o'clock at A.W. Mumford Stadium in Baton Rouge. I think they're going to clobber Mississippi Valley State badly. Whatever the spread is, I don't know. If there is a spread, they're going to cover it and then some. But, so guys, let's talk Southern Mississippi Valley State very briefly. Their very convincing win, their tough second-half win over Alabama A&M last week, as they were down by 10 points in the second half, and once again, Southern came from behind to win, and win pretty handily. And then, of course, the collision course that they're on with the Grambling State Tigers. I'm sure the professor has something to say about that.
I have no comments about Southern University today.
No comments, Professor?
No comments for Southern University
Oh,
today.
well, you know,
I mean, overall, though, first I want to say something quickly about the Grambling game. Eric, just be cool. We got that. Secondly, Southern University should continue their winning ways today. Dawson Odom is doing an excellent job. I want Southern to win. I'm rooting for Southern because I want the build-up. I want it to come to a head. The rivalry, that rivalry component that we've been missing for years. Last year, the attendance at the Bayou Classic was somewhat deplorable. So hopefully we're looking for big numbers this year. So I want Southern to win, and they should.
Okay. Yeah, well, it was deplorable with a good cause last year. I mean, we all know about the trials and tribulations that Grambling had last year.
Indeed.
And it just goes to show that team always had the talent. They just needed the right leadership. And it's going to be a full house this year. I guarantee it. You're going to have some people's attention.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that Southern should actually just, if they don't look ahead, this is the game right here. There's only one more game for them to win, and then November 29th, the showdown will come, and we'll find out who is the best in the SWAC. Actually, Southern and Grambling has the same record. Both of them are 7-3. Southern started out 2-3, and then won 5 games in a row, so they're 7-3. Grambling is 7-3, but they're 8-0 in SWAC, and Southern is 7-1. So, man, if they don't overlook this game, they've been kind of talking about it and been looking ahead to the Bayou Classic. But I think Mississippi Valley State is last in the SWAC in passing, they last in SWAC in rushing, and in pretty much every category. I think one standout they have a good receiver. He actually leads the SWAC in receiving yards.
Did Jerry Rice clone himself and make himself younger and put himself back there?
It must be Jerry Rice's cousin.
Because Jerry Rice...
chronologically frozen.
Right.
And movie Demolition Man. Where he froze him and reawakened him in the future.
Because Jerry Rice is not walking through that door. Willie Totten is not walking through that door.
Archie Cooley.
Right.
Archie Cooley is not walking through that door.
Well, they call him Dirty Rice. But anyway, I think Southern, this is the perfect game to be able to get your game plan and see what you're going to do next week. It's like kind of a warm-up game to get ready for Grambling. And we're going to hold up our end of the bargain. We're going to win this game today, the Jaguars. And now it's going to be up to you guys, Mr. T and the Grambling State Tigers, to be able to hold up your end of the bargain and beat Alabama State.
It is and it isn't in a way. I mean, if Southern wins this game, I can't see the Jaguars losing. I know you can never say never in sports. I'll just say there's no way they're going to lose. You can put that in bold print. But when they're going to have run their third team out there, they're going to win this game by 10 points or more, maybe 20 or 30 points. But Grambling, actually, if Southern wins this game, it doesn't really matter what Grambling does against Alabama State, which is a good thing. Because, I mean, I think Grambling will win. Let me say that. But Alabama State could win this game. They have a quality team. They've been known to kind of pull some sucker punches here and there, and they can throw the ball pretty well. But doesn't matter. If Southern wins this game, regardless of what the Grambling Tigers do, it's on. And the winner of the Bayou Classic will they will travel to Houston to play Alcorn State in the Southwestern Athletic Conference Championship game. That's going to be tough no matter who wins.
One of my fellow alumnus, we spoke the other day, and he said, man, I already have my tickets and my reservations for Houston.
Oh, he paid up front, huh?
Up front.
Okay.
So
we'll see.
I'll tell you what, that's a lot of confidence.
Yes,
the good news is he can sell them on StubHub because if Grambling does lose, I'm sure that there'll be many, many, many Jaguar fans will be willing to take that off his hands. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the loser buying those Super Bowl hats and everything, and they can have them already in the locker room.
Or third world countries that receive the T-shirts of the losing team as winners.
Right.
Wow. Eric is blazing with a double-barrel shotgun today.
Yeah.
And he's shooting three.
2014 World Champ Miami Heat. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, Professor. The fruit is just hanging too low today, man. The fruit is just hanging way too low. So that's going to be some good action on the bluff. And
some more college games, though, man.
Oh yeah, we got some other college games as we go to the campus on the other side of town. We got a lot to talk about with this is something we didn't hear enough of last week. LSU, maybe a few more first downs, and might have been a different story. Last week, the LSU Tigers hosted the Alabama Crimson Tide. I always say this, CBS, one time per year, can move a SEC game into prime time, and for the 5th year in a row, 6th year in a row, I'm losing count, they chose LSU versus Alabama. Well, the CBS people, I'm sure, were thrilled because the performance did not disappoint, but if you were an LSU fan, you're having one of the biggest football hangovers that you've had in quite some time. LSU had this game won. They had possession of the ball inside the 5-yard line. Inside the 5-yard line, and bled Alabama of all their timeouts. They were forced to kick a field goal because of what I thought was a very questionable penalty, but that is, in my opinion, irrelevant. You're up 3 points. You've allowed 10 points to Alabama all day. You're at home. They have no timeouts left. They inexplicably and inexcusably let Alabama march down the field and work the sidelines. Alabama was going for the sidelines the way guys go for the goal line, and LSU let them have it anyway. Alabama kicks a field goal, goes into overtime, mops the floor with LSU, and wins 20-13 in overtime. That pretty much slams the door on LSU's shot at the college football. Well, it does slam the door on LSU's shot at the college football playoff. So we have a couple of things. We have a completely deflating loss in the most deflating and unimaginable fashion last week in Tiger Stadium, and now they have to go to Arkansas, an Arkansas team that has lost 17 consecutive, if my count is correct, 17 consecutive Southeastern Conference games, but a lot of close games this year, a lot of teams on the ropes, including one of those games in overtime, a hungry team, and it's going to be cold, and they're going to that miserable dump of War Memorial Stadium, and those they're going to be like, hey, suey, or whatever the call is, they're going to be charged up. So, guys, what do y'all think about the Tigers? What do you think about the Tigers?
They are going to be charged up, and just for the record, it's 13 consecutive losses.
13.
It's 13.
Thank you.
That stat stood out this morning when I was looking at Mike and Mike. Man, I don't know what to say about LSU. I mean, they gave that Alabama game away. So Arkansas is going to have a slew of motivation coming into the game, but LSU still may have something to prove. I like them going there. The odds have LSU +1, so that's basically a pick 'em.
Right.
So I mean, man, go figure. The weather's going to be extremely cold. So hey,
that factors into LSU's favor because LSU is a team. How should I put this? The less they throw it, the better off they are.
Smash mouth football. So they will get a heavy dose of the running game. I hadn't seen Florette, how he does in inclement weather, so I'm going to be interested to see if he can hold on to the football.
Yeah, well, man, I just I just took my last Excedrin yesterday morning, getting over the Alabama loss, man. I mean, I'm, that was, you talk about hungover.
I took some Maalox. I had a Maalox moment.
I had, you ain't lying. It was the head and the stomach, but it was just like, man, you mentioned about we had the game won, and everybody knows that the position that we was in, we got the fumble. With the defense had held those guys all day. I thought that the quarterback was really kind of holding on by a string because our defense played so good. I actually thought that if Brandon Harris came in with running the same type of offense that he would, he was a little more faster. He can get to the edge a little bit more. He had the opportunity to get a first down, I thought, because they kept opening up the defense in the middle, and it was on the receivers playing the corners and that defense they was playing. But I think that the key play to me was the penalty, because the penalty saved them an extra timeout, and that cost us about 25 seconds. So instead of 50 seconds, they wouldn't have had but 25. Then he kicks the ball out of bounds on the, it was just like, it was just one thing after another, just kind of built up, and it was just like, man, you could just see that the stars was aligning against us this time. So
when that kickoff drifted out of bounds, I got that. You ever watch the movie Goodfellas? Yes, and you know how they do? Sometimes they freeze it, and Ray Liotta would talk. And Morty is the kind of fat guy who had the wig shop, and they froze it. I knew at that moment Morty was going to get whacked if I didn't do something. When that kickoff traveled out of bounds, I knew at that moment this game was going into overtime. That Nick Saban was about to have his cake and eat it too, and he sure did. And Joker, of all the talking heads, you were the most insightful. You were the first person to mention that penalty was effectively an extra timeout for the Tide. And 25 seconds, I don't think they get down the field in time.
Exactly.
I just don't see how you. I mean, they could have, but it's not likely. So they just like everything lined up for the Tide to take that game last week, and then in overtime, you have one of the best running attacks in the country. You have one of the most. Let's face. I mean, look, Anthony Jennings can move the machine, but he's not a monkey wrench in the gear, so to speak. But he's not a good thrower. He's a D- passer at best, and you throw the ball 4 times. Now, I got the first down play. That was an empty screen. The running back dropped the ball. I actually like the play call because if he catches it, that's a first down.
Right.
But at least run it on second down. Give Fournette the ball. Give McGee the ball. Run a draw play, something, and then fourth down, he has all that space. He knows he can't throw, and he tries to throw it to the corner of the end zone. I mean,
right.
Oh, wow.
That was a. I'm still getting over it, man. Just calm down. It'll be all right. Woosah, and we're gonna do everything. But I think this week, I think LSU is going to rebound real well. I think we found an identity of the way that we want to play football, and Cam Cameron and Chavis has the right formula going. So I think everybody thinks this game is going to be close between Arkansas. I actually believe that LSU is going to win by a touchdown, more than a touchdown, even though the spread has it at 1 point. But I give LSU this week is going to go up there on the road and get it done.
I got to say, I think Arkansas, no matter how good or bad they are, or mediocre, they've always given LSU heartburn over the years. But if I were a betting man, I'd take LSU in the point. I do think LSU is going to win the game. I do think I think, kind of like you, we're looking at somewhere in about a 7-point buffer zone. 3 to 7 points. I don't think they're going to run over them. They just don't throw the ball a lot. These weather conditions do factor, though, heavily into LSU's favor. LSU is ground and pound, smash mouth defense. Arkansas does have capable runners in Jonathan Williams and Alex Collins, but Brandon Allen, the games that they've won when they took Texas, not that they've won, that they've made very competitive when they took Texas A&M to overtime and they made other teams sweat. Brandon Allen has made some big plays. He's busted. He's had 50-yard touchdown passes and long bombs to the likes of Keon Hatcher and A.J. Derby and Jarrett Cornelius. I mean, they've made big plays, and that's kind of what's been the I don't want to say the difference maker. They haven't won a conference game, but it's been what's kept them close. And they're going to have a hard time doing that. And LSU secondary looks a heck of a lot better than it has the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have, but LSU secondary is still suspect, especially with the omission of Rashard Robinson. I still hadn't been able to investigate to find out exactly what's going on and why he's not playing. Have you heard anything on that?
No, I haven't. I just know that he's a scratch. I don't know if it's some kind of discipline thing or if it's an injury. I've got no idea.
Because
but
he's
it's going to hurt.
Indefinitely. He's off indefinitely.
And I know that Hilliard is out for the season.
Yeah, Kenny Hilliard has a shoulder injury. He's out for the year. Not that LSU has any shortage of weapons in their backfield. That's, of all the places that LSU could take a hit, I think they can afford one there, although it's a big one. I mean, he's a power back and he's a senior, but I think LSU has the tools there. Rashard Robinson, that one concerns me. They were just beginning to gel in that defensive backfield. And, I really like what I've seen out of Jalen Collins, and I like Rashard Robinson's game, and it's going to hurt. I hope he's not out for more than this game or two, but you hear indefinitely, you never know what that means. Right. It leaves a lot up in the air.
Right.
So, round the horn, Joker, you have LSU winning?
I have LSU winning. I'll give a score 28-20.
All right, I'm going to go. I'm not a big score person. I do think LSU will win and cover. I'm going to go 17-14 just to play along, though.
Right.
Professor?
I'm going to pick LSU by 10. I'm going to say
Whoa!
Good call.
24-14.
24-14, Professor. We got to sure we save this audio. We got Professor Terrell Johnson, who has put bird dew on LSU's windshield for much of the season,
Indeed.
Picking the LSU Tigers by 10.
In inclement weather, and I am emphatic about that.
He's okay. You okay?
Indeed, I am.
Okay, you feeling pretty good?
Bear witness to the truth I manifest.
That's right.
Professor's seen the light. So,
how about that Alabama game today?
I'm glad you said that. We have some pretty big SEC action going on in the world of college football, and let's just go ahead and get queued up for some of our other college football talk.
Right, let's run through those scores.
I said some of our other college football talk. What in the world is going on here? Okay, well, forget about the music then. We're just going to jump straight into it.
Get straight to it.
Look, we have we have a couple of big games in the SEC right now. The Mississippi State Bulldogs are going to host, they're going to host Alabama, number 5. I'm sorry, I said host. That's what I meant. Thank you. That's why I was a little hesitant. I was looking at the schedule here. They're going to Alabama, to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Look, this is going to be pretty much the SEC game of the year now, with number 1 versus number 5. This is the real test. Mississippi State has played well all year. They've won games that nobody gave them chances in all year. But this is the real McCoy. You know, they stunned LSU with a victory in Tiger Stadium. They whooped Texas A&M. They surprised Auburn. This is it. If they win this game, that, by my math, ought to seal the SEC West for them, if I'm not mistaken, because the only game they have left is the Egg Bowl against Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a pair of conference losses, so that I don't have the math in front of me or an article that's confirming it, but in my head, I think that does it. That sends them to Atlanta. So this one is huge. They are going to Alabama. Dak Prescott, who is a Heisman hopeful, who has been Mr. Everything, running the ball and throwing the ball all year long, is going to be put to his biggest test of the year in that hostile crowd, with Alabama coming off of that big win. And Alabama has its horses lined up. They're going to, when they throw the ball, they're going to be going to Amari Cooper, but if not, they're going to get a big healthy dose of T.J. Yeldon and that pony Derrick Henry. Looks like just a racehorse when he carries the football. So guys, have at it.
Man, I really like Mississippi State chances of going down here and remaining number 1. The odds makers in Vegas are giving Mississippi State a +7. I like the +7. I like Mississippi State in the +7. But just on a level playing field, the edge has to go to Alabama being at home. So that's where I am with it.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm sorry to steal your thunder, but when you said that, it made my ears perk up. +7, that's a sucker bet. It is not good. Alabama's just not that much of a volume scoring team, and both teams have slobber knocking defenses.
Right.
No, I'm with you. I'll just throw my pick out now. I agree with everything the professor said. Take Mississippi State in the points if you're a better, but I do think Alabama will win. Joker, my bad,
man. Y'all guys was right on, man. Y'all right spot on. I kind of agree with both of y'all, actually. Everything that Professor Johnson talked about was my point, you know. I'm actually pulling for Mississippi State. I think that this is the Heisman game for Dak Prescott.
I agree.
This is the game that can conceal the faith for him to be able to obtain that trophy. And I think that I'm kind of stuck whether I think that he can actually pull it off. Can he pull off a Cam Newton? Can he pull off a Texas A&M?
Oh, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel type of performance against Alabama. Alabama, all the numbers show that they should win. You know, they're in Tuscaloosa. They came off a tough win against, squeaked out against LSU. They've been kind of under the radar a little bit this year. So this is the game. Is Mississippi State really about that, or are they really for real? The answer is yes. Yes.
Oh, I was getting ready to...
The answer is yes. I started going to Alabama, but just by that dramatic moment, I built it up so good, so I got to go with Mississippi State. I made it sound too good, so I'm going Mississippi State. This is Dak Prescott's game. Throw out all the numbers. My pick today, 2:30 this evening, CBS Sports, Mississippi State Bulldogs going to Tuscaloosa and beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. There we go. The state of Mississippi.
And he said that with a tad bit of emotion. Finally, we getting some emotion. We getting some juices flowing in there. I'm the one that's always enthusiastic. Joker came out and dropped them today. That's what I need to see you step up to the plate and be vigilant with your picks, man. Mean what you mean and say what I say.
That's right. That's right. And also, what's good for Mississippi State, I think that the pressure is not as much on them because I also believe that, like he said, they haven't lost this year. And from what they're saying, even if they lose a game, they would probably still end up in the top 4 because everyone else has lost.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go with just a computer, just because you lose, drop all the way down. They're going to still be saying, you know what, they still one of the best one-loss teams. So they still have a little cushion there.
Oh, and they're very much alive still for the SEC because the Iron Bowl's coming up, and Auburn's not out of it yet either. So there could be a snarl. I mean, Mississippi State can win the SEC West outright with a win today, but hey, if they advance, even if they lose, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And you know, I can see Monique walking through that door. I can see Rosie O'Donnell walking through that door. I can see Roseanne walking through that door. But you know, I can see young Oprah walking through the door, but that fat lady will not have sung yet. There's a whole lot of football to play. Just Mississippi State can lock it up today and cure all the doubters. And you're right. I think a solid performance from Dak Prescott in a win does lock. He's probably going to win the Heisman anyway because Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, they have not had the spotlight on them like he is. But I think that locks it up.
Indeed.
Yeah, if he win this game, of course, pressure is going to sink.
So we still have a whole lot more to talk about today. Real quick, let's just go around the horn. There's one other pretty interesting SEC game, although it's not going to be quite as big. We have the Auburn Tigers as they are going to face the University of Georgia. That's going to be a real slugfest, although that game is in Athens. Georgia has the Gurley man coming back, Todd Gurley, and I'll just cut to the chase. I think that factor plus being in Athens is going to tip the scales in Georgia's favor. I like Georgia in that game.
Georgia Bulldogs.
We're going to go to Georgia Bulldogs. The odds makers have the game, and I'm always an analytical man. We're always going to think mathematically, supreme mathematics. So we're going to say that the odds makers are giving Auburn +3. I like the +3, just the points. But I think the return of Gurley, I think he has a lot of gas on his chest. He has a point to prove, so he's going to come out very vigilant today. So Georgia may win.
All righty, so we'll see who's right and who's wrong. We're all in the same boat on Georgia, and next week we'll be able to say who was right and who was wrong. But now we have this week's edition of I Told You So.
I told you what? I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Let the rubber meet the road. Grambling is walking away with the swag. Southern.
Here we go.
You know I am a Grambling apologist, so bear with me. Eric is in here with his LSU hat on and has a smile on his face like Garfield. So let me speak on my Grambling Tigers as well. He's smiling like Garfield in here, Coach.
Let's just go ahead around the horn. I expect both Southern and Grambling to win today.
I expect both of them to win today also.
I'll just say ditto as far as my choice, but in reference to what Joker just made, two trains. Grambling is a train. Man. I think Southern might be a trolley. Yeah. So it's a train. Okay, cool.
It's unanimous. We're unanimous on our thinking on today's game. Nick Saban is going to have the constituency that celebrated so illustriously Tuesday night with the election results very upset.
Wow.
Okay, I wasn't celebrating, but okay. Shoot. So Perry, I just want to make sure I'm not misreading you. You're expecting Alabama to win.
Anytime the great Nick Saban steps into Death Valley, I expect him to win.
Right. Can they contain Amari Cooper? And here's the key, and you all heard it here first, and you can put this in bold print. The third down is going to tell, Alabama's third downs are going to tell the tale of this game. I'm going to take my purple and gold shades off and say that if I were betting money, I would expect Alabama to win, but I'm not going to have a heart attack and die from surprise if LSU pulls off the upset in Death Valley in prime time, as they've done it before against better teams.
So who you picking?
I'm picking Alabama.
Right, so that's the spread, but I'm just going to pick Alabama to win outright.
This defense is showing up. I think they have their confidence, man. This is the game. I'm picking LSU with the upset in Death Valley. I'm picking the upset is going to be 21-17. LSU Tiger. This is my upset pick of the year.
What?
LSU is coming out. Les Miles, the Mad Hatter, LSU Tiger does it again. Upsets Nick Saban. They're not the powerhouse like they used to be. LSU has the momentum. We're going to get to Blake Sims. He's never been in the spotlight like this. This is a big game. If Ole Miss beat Alabama and we beat Ole Miss, LSU can beat Alabama.
Yeah! No!
But look, we got big game today. Look, we can talk about stats and numbers and Colin Kaepernick this and Jim Harbaugh that and Drew Brees and Mark Ingram. Look, here's the bottom line: these two teams have identical records. The Saints are in the Superdome, and the last time, this is 2014, the last time the Saints lost a game in the Superdome under Sean Payton was 2010. So with a relatively evenly matched set of teams, heck, I picked the Saints over the Packers, so I sure as heck am picking the Saints over the 49ers.
In actuality, though, this is going to be a real good game. Wow. I'm picking the Saints myself.
Get out on a limb and say that I can't foresee the 49ers losing 3 in a row. I know the Saints are typically lights out at home in the Dome, in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. But I think that the 49ers will come out with a win.
You know, this is a tight matchup. I give the slightest edge on paper to the Detroit Lions, but this one could really go either way, I think.
But I'm going to give the edge to Detroit for having the home field advantage, grinding out, knowing how to win. They seem to have an identity now, and so I kind of give the edge to them. But
So yeah, there was a lot going down last week. Louisiana's biggest football hangover ever is the Saints and LSU both lost just gut wrenches in overtime. We got Professor Johnson's history class coming up in just a moment, but we have a caller on the line. I guess he's becoming a show regular. We got Boss Player. What's going on, Boss Player? What you got?
Good morning. How you guys doing today? I'm running late with y'all. I normally catch you at the straight up 11 o'clock hour, so y'all forgive me today. But,
what's up, boss?
No problem, boss. What you got, man?
Okay, I just called to see what you guys think about the Tiger game tonight, and the Saints as well.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. First of all, thank you for the call, Boss Player. Real quick, we're gonna talk about the Saints in more depth shortly, but the LSU game, I think strangely we all agree that LSU is going to win, even though they're underdogs in that game. We just think that, I think collectively, and y'all chime in if y'all disagree, but we think the cold weather is going to kind of play right into LSU's hands, take away Arkansas's running game. As for the Saints, they have Cincinnati. Saints have not lost a game in regulation in the Superdome under Sean Payton since 2010. They have not lost consecutive games at the Dome in 5 years, and Cincinnati's not a very good road team. I think Andy Dalton's going to have some problems, so I personally expect the Saints to win that game in the Dome. Guys, y'all can chime in real quick, but we will talk about that in more depth after the history class.
I like the Saints, man. Simple and plain. I like the Saints.
Well, you heard that, simple and plain. Professor Johnson says he likes the Saints, and we got
disconnected.
Oh, I'm sorry, Boss Player. What you got, man? Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I just want to give my little quarterback degree version here.
Say that again.
Home field advantage. But for anybody that may be wanting to bet, that's a lot of points for the Saints to give up 7, regardless at home or on the road. They got 5 losses, I think by a total of 13, 14 points. So you just never know what that back end, that last tier for the defense gonna do it for somebody usually blows the coverage or missed call or something. But straight up game, I take the Saints over Cincinnati. But I think I'll take Cincinnati plus the 7.
I agree with you. The line plus 7, and thank you for the call, boss. Cincinnati, 7 points is that's a lot for even for a road underdog. That's a whole lot of points. And the Saints have made games unnecessarily exciting against good teams. So I kind of agree with your assessment there, Boss Player. So we have a few minutes left. I'd like to remind you that in 8 minutes we have coming up Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction here on 96.9 FM WHYR-LP Baton Rouge Community Radio. But right now we have class, Professor Johnson's history class.
Let's go.
Freedom is a road seldom traveled by the multitude.
Public enemy number 1.
Show what you got. Show what you got.
Class is in session.
Good morning, WHYR listening audience, and today I want to share with you some information about the Federal Reserve System. I know a lot of you may have heard this terminology, and we know that they are infused with the government. However, the Federal Reserve is not a government entity, and let me explain to you what it is. The Federal Reserve banking system, which came into fruition under the presidency of Woodrow Wilson in 1913, which removed the United States from the gold and silver standard. The Federal Reserve is a set of European banks. 12 are established here within America, and I will quickly list to you where they are located: Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Kansas City, Minneapolis, New York, Philadelphia, Richmond, San Francisco, and St. Louis. Actually, the Federal Reserve is an institution which controls monetary policy and controls interest rates. For all intents and purposes, the Federal Reserve actually loans the United States government money. I know we all knew about Fort Knox, where gold was stored, and as I mentioned earlier about the gold and silver standard in the early 1900s, a dollar was backed by a measure of gold or silver. But they decided to move away from this because most of the banks in Europe were using this different monetary system. They didn't want to decrease the value of gold by inundating or flooding the market with gold. So in order to keep the prices of gold high, they went to the Federal Reserve banking system. Let me share with you some quick quotes from prominent people from the past who spoke about the Federal Reserve system. Ronald Reagan said that the Federal Reserve is answerable to no one. And Senator Louis McFadden said that the Federal Reserve banks are one of the most corrupt institutions in the world that I have ever seen. There is not a man within the sound of my voice who does not know that this nation is run by international bankers. And also Thomas Jefferson said the eyes of our citizens are not sufficiently open to the true cause of our distress. They ascribe them to everything but their true cause, the banking system, a system which, if any good can come from it, is not yet so certain, leading to abuse as to utterly incompatible with public safety and prosperity. So the Federal Reserve System, as I said, is not federal at all. It is a set of international bankers from Europe running and interacting with the United States government. So that is your lesson for today. And remember, always investigate the information you receive. If it is indeed the truth, verily, it shall stand the test of investigation. Peace.
Class dismissed.
Wow, wow. That's what's up, man.
So, with a few minutes remaining, we need to, of course, we've talked about high school and the college guys. That's where a lot of the hot action is right now with the college, with the high school playoffs in effect, and of course with it all going down today in the SEC. But we would be remiss if we did not discuss the National Football League. So, as Boss Player alluded to just a few moments ago, the Saints are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow afternoon in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. The Saints are 5-4 and yet somehow still in first place in the NFC South. I think it's what you call some good karma for Saints fans who toiled and suffered and had great teams, going 10-6 and missing the playoffs because they're in the same division with the 49ers. Well, hey, this year they're 4-5 and solidly in first place ahead of the Panthers and Falcons. The Saints have been a very different team, though. I'd say turning the corner probably around the time of the Sunday night Green Bay game. Yeah. And look, there's no shame in losing to a 49ers team that's been in the NFL's Final Four 3 consecutive years running. I expect the Saints to rebound and really punch Cincinnati in the mouth. Cincinnati is a great team at Paul Brown Stadium, whole different team on the road, and I do think Andy Dalton is going to have problems with the Superdome crowd.
I do too. I think that the Saints, this is a rebound game for them. They played and they kind of gave a game away last week, but I wouldn't hang my head down by a 49ers team that was really hungry, that lost 2 in a row, that was really kind of on the ropes and really needed that win. It was unfortunate the way that it ended, but I think the Saints can feel good about their direction and where they're going, where their defense is going, what their offense is doing. So I expect them to come down there in the Superdome and put up over 30 points and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. No problem. I think Mark Ingram, everybody is starting to click a little bit now. And
Cincinnati has a big hole in that running defense and a couple of injuries. I think we can look for another big day out of Mark Ingram.
And they don't show up. They don't show up for the big games either.
They do have a big hole in that defense, but quickly I'm gonna take Cincinnati. Want to take
Cincinnati and the points, or Cincinnati straight?
Cincinnati straight and the points, both ways. For all intents and purposes, undercover, Vegas has Cincinnati picked to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if our friend the Fixer is listening, we got to have a chat with him next week on that one. Another big matchup, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, which, by the way, John Facenda never said. But anyway, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. Now, I know Aaron Rodgers is nursing a little ding, but that hasn't stopped him very much in the past.
Stop hating.
Green Bay. That's the professor's team, is the Packers. But the Green Bay is a very comfortable team at home. Philadelphia, of course, has Mark Sanchez starting at quarterback. He seems to have enjoyed somewhat of a rebirth. It's really going to be a matter of which team can outlast the other. The only thing is, a Green Bay, again, they have a hole as far as the running game, and sometimes the secondary has been suspect. But all that being said, I guess I'm kind of going against the hard numbers on paper. I just think Green Bay is going to be too tough at home, and I think Philadelphia is going to have some problems containing Aaron Rodgers at Green Bay. It's basically, I'm going with the home field. If this game were in Philly, I'd be picking the Eagles.
Oh, man. No comment. No comment.
No comment. I got to go with the bad man. I got to kind of piggyback off of Professor today. I think that Green Bay, I got to give it to them. They're looking really good. Clay Matthews and those guys are starting to step up.
Beast.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty good. They've been kind of overachieving on their defensive side.
Overachieving.
They've been overachieving, and Green Bay is not known for the defense, but mostly Aaron Rodgers. But the way he's been playing this year, man, he's been playing on an MVP type of.
He is.
Yeah. And so I got to go with the Green Bay Packers on this one. I'll go with them.
Packers have got to find a way to stop the run, though, if they're going to win that game. They can't let Shady McCoy run all over them. Professor, I'm assuming you're...
Green Bay.
I kind of figured as such. And last but certainly not least, the New England Patriots. You have pretty much Tom Terrific, who has willed this team back on his own. They had a bye week last week and stomped Denver's teeth in, beat the Chicago Bears, hanging 51 on them. The Patriots look like the Patriots. Rob Gronkowski looks like Rob Gronkowski again. They have to go to Lucas Oil Stadium to face the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football. I'll tell you, this is another one that's kind of a tough call, because as well as Brady has been playing, they're under the lights and they are in Andrew Luck's backyard, and Andrew Luck has been as solid as they come. The Colts are actually leading the NFL in passing yards, and I'll tell you, when Andrew Luck's feet are working with him, it's something else. And they've actually, you look at what's going on there. Chuck Pagano is like taking duct tape and popsicle sticks and string and roll it together, and they've made that running game kind of formidable with Ahmad Bradshaw and kind of using Trent Richardson in the short yardage situation. So, in this, again, I'm gonna defer to home field and say that I like Indianapolis mainly because they're playing at home, although I don't think it's going to be easy. But New England's a 3-point underdog. The Las Vegas people usually value home field at 3 points. I think that's about right, so I'm going to go with the Colts.
New England Patriots, Tom Brady, Tom Terrific.
Tom Terrific. Let's get it.
So that's what we got. So I'm going with the Colts. We have everyone else going with the Patriots. We'll see who is right and who's wrong next week. But we have come to the end of our journey for this week. We have Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction coming up any second now. So as we always say around this time,
peace. I want to give a shout out to the Reentry Alliance of Louisiana and the Capital Area Reentry Program, and Collins Harper, my daughter Kay Shire, and my mother Gwen. Peace out.
Fantastic people doing fantastic work. I agree. I know a lot about them. Have a good afternoon.
Hail to the king. Hail to the king. And lots of love. May he protect us from the evil. Hail to the king. Lots of love. Take us from evil.